Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Morning Musings. Happy Tuesday morning to you. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And, oh, by the way, have you noticed? I got a new Mustang. My buddy, TJ Smith, who, by the way, is having a conference in Texas this month. You can find that on my websites very soon. He sent me that just the other day. Beautiful, beautiful model. It's a 65 Mustang resto mod type thing. Beautiful, beautiful little model. I appreciate that so much. You know, every once in a while, someone will send me a little model like that, and I really appreciate it. I've got cars sitting on my shelves all over my office, and I truly appreciate those gestures. Guess what, folks? This is video number 300 in our study of the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15. Now, suggestion has been made that we do something special for today. Alan Morton suggested that we do a t-shirt that says, you know, catch the power of this. I survived 300. Pardon me. Well, we're not going to do that. But my wife and I kept thinking, yeah, we ought to do something. Some little thing to celebrate 300 videos on 1 Corinthians 15. By the way, just a really, really brief word to the detractors, so to speak. I've had people contact me and say, anybody that has to take 300 videos to explain a given passage of Scripture must be a false teacher. It's absolutely amazing to me how simplistic some people's view of Scripture really is. They think that theology can be explained in 25 words or less. And those very people, generally speaking, and I don't want to be unkind at all, but generally speaking, they have no concept whatsoever of the Hebraic mindset and of the vast difference between the way the Hebrews thought and Greeks thought, and you and I are trained in Grecian philosophy, Grecian ways of thinking. So we must acclimate ourselves, we must educate ourselves on Hebraic thought. Secondly, those people, generally speaking, have no clue about the Old Testament source of New Testament eschatology. Some of the most vehement objections that I receive are from the amillennial and postmillennial world advocates. And the amillennialists especially believe that God was through with Israel at the cross. And yet, when confronted with the undeniable reality that Paul's eschatology, Peter's eschatology, John's eschatology was nothing but the hope of Israel found in the Old Testament, it's like, well, that doesn't matter. So, what that means is, as I've been exegeting Isaiah and the prophecies of the new heaven and new earth, and showing the correlation, the perfect correlation with the New Testament prophecies of the new heaven and the new earth, these type of objectors just simply, basically they fade away, or they say, well, it has nothing to do with it. Well, my point here is that we need to take a holistic approach to Scripture. We cannot approach 1 Corinthians chapter 15 in isolation from the Old Testament. We cannot approach it in isolation from other passages. I had one fella right here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, when I was attempting to share some of these things with him, attempting to share the proper hermeneutic for understanding 1 Corinthians 15. He said, I don't care about any of that. All of that is totally irrelevant. He said, if I cannot pick up 1 Corinthians 15 and read it and understand it exactly as I would the local newspaper, then I want nothing to do with anything that you're saying. Well, unfortunately, this gentleman completely and totally failed when I pointed out that Paul was looking for the fulfillment of Hosea and Isaiah and Daniel and Ezekiel, he literally had no clue. Literally had no clue. He said, well, I had no idea. That's the problem. And again, this is one of the reasons why I've taken the time that I have, why I am taking the time to show all of these interconnections between Paul's discourse on the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 and to show the connections with Romans 8, 2 Corinthians, 1 Thessalonians, with the themes such as martyr vindication. I've been taking the time to show you that Paul's use of the term body, that his use of the terms corruption and incorruption, mortal versus immortal, he is not using those terms in ways that you and I have been taught. And so I've been trying to share with you the proper way to interpret 1 Corinthians chapter 15. That's why it's taken us 300 videos so far. And we've got more, obviously. We're almost through, okay? We are almost through. But the point of it is, well, I'm not going to give any promises about how close we are. But we are almost through. But the point of it is, there's no way to properly do justice to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 without incorporating and practicing analogia scriptura. That's a reformed, term, but I agree with that concept fully. It is interpreting Scripture by Scripture. We cannot interpret 1 Corinthians 15 and Paul's doctrine of the resurrection without comparing what he says with other Scriptures, without going to the Old Testament source for his for his resurrection doctrine. I hope you have seen that. I hope you're continuing to see that. I hope you understand it, and I hope you appreciate it. Now then, what are we going to do to celebrate video number 300, which obviously is not dealing with exegesis today? But here's what I want to do. We want to give you, those of you who have been watching 300 videos, want to give you a little present. Now, this is primarily intended for those who do not have my books. Okay? This is primarily intended for those who are relatively new to the study of eschatology, and particularly, covenant eschatology. Doesn't mean that others cannot participate in it and take advantage of the offer, but let me emphasize that this is primarily being offered to, quote, new students. For this month only, all right, September 2018, for those of you who have endured 300 videos, I'm going to give away one copy each. Now, this is not multiple copies to same family, okay? One copy of each per family, Leaving the Rapture Behind, and Can God Tell Time? This is normally $2.95. This is normally $1.95. We're giving them away, again, one copy of each per family for the month of September 2018, totally free, post-paid. If you want a copy of each book, free of charge, delivered to you, no obligation, all right? Then contact me through my websites and say, I survived 300. Special offer. Let me know that you saw the special offer, okay? Now again, let me emphasize, no, you can't get multiple copies free. No, I can't do that. Can't afford to do that. But, one more time, this is focused primarily on new students. Focused primarily on those who do not have these books. Focused primarily on those who want to know more and have not bought books, have not really launched out, but who want to look at some of the fundamental issues involved. One copy of each per family for 1 month, the month of September 2018. Now look, don't contact me in July of 2019 and say, hey Don, is this offer still good? Because no, it's not. All right? So, special offer, Leaving the Rapture Behind, Can God Tell Time, absolutely free, 1 copy of each per family for the month of September 2018. Contact me, take advantage of this special offer. Okay? Well, obviously, we haven't done any exegesis today, but tomorrow's video, Wednesday, we'll get back to our study of the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15 as we look at this doctrine through the prism of the new creation. We've been looking at it through the lens of Isaiah chapter 66, and we've incorporated our study into 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and 2 Peter. We will now segue into a study of the new creation of Isaiah 66 in comparison with the book of Revelation. Like in the other studies, you're going to be absolutely amazed at how clear the testimony is that the new creation would arrive at the time of the destruction of the old creation of Old Covenant Israel. So we'll see you on the flip side.